Um, okay, and just to say welcome to everybody. If it is possible for you to have your videos on, it does make the engagement quite a lot easier because of the fact that it is an interactive webinar, this rather than me just simply lecturing you and so on. So it just makes for a kind of a feeling of us being in circle together if people are able to have their videos on. Of course, I understand if that's not possible. Is that your cat, Christina? Good. All right. So before, normally what I do is I start with a meditation. Um, Before we begin a meditation this evening, I'd like to have a sort of a slightly longer meditation, which is a little bit specific and will, Sam, like address your stuff as well a little. Um, but I would just like to speak a little bit about I suppose, the focus of the centering meditation this evening before we start, so that it kind of feels slightly more relevant, I guess. Um, and what I've been really aware of more and more and more as the years go by is how. So, first of all, I started the soul integration work and the soul connection to babies and just the soul work generally about 33 years ago, maybe a little bit more. And then after about 7 or 8 years, 7 years, I think, I recognized how many people had birth trauma as one of the primary wounds that they were working with in the soul integration work. So then I studied to be a midwife in order to be able to help babies come into the world uh, with less trauma. And then the whole kind of area of birth became a sort of a speciality within the soul integration work. And after another 8 years of training and then being a midwife, um, I stopped working as a midwife. I was still working as a doula and a doula trainer and so on, but I stopped working as a midwife because I wanted to focus more on the soul work. And so the reason that I'm telling you this is that over the years since then, and that's, since 2008 maybe or something like that, um, I've recognized how it doesn't matter what we're looking at in terms of soul work, whether what we're dealing with is preconception, what we're dealing with is pregnancy itself, or miscarriage, or postpartum, or some kind of birth trauma, or anything that is not birth related at all. The underlying resolution seems to come back to the same thing over and over and over again. So it's almost like if we go to the basic foundation of what is needed, then we can apply it to whatever it is that we are working with in our lives. We might be birth keepers and birth support people. We might be parents and mothers and or kind of on the birthing journey ourselves and so on. Or it might not necessarily be birth related. So, for instance, last month, what we looked at was birthing of projects and just soul birthing of whatever it is that we were passionate about and holding as our kind of a baby in our lives and so on. So the basic foundation that we come back to over and over again is this kind of recognition that in order to do any kind of soul work, we have to land it in this experience of being here on earth. And that is a very strongly feminine approach to life, because if you look at the way that we are all made up of masculine and feminine attributes, or sometimes more easy to understand this in terms of Chinese medicine and yin and yang, is that um, the yin aspect to who we are in the world is the kind of holds the qualities of receptivity. So, like a womb is receptive, for instance, it holds the qualities of darkness, of mystery, of a kind of a deep embodied creativity, of love, of nurturing, and of a kind of messy sort of engagement with being here in the world, as opposed and in our bodies. It's actually yin is about dropping from the transcendent vastness of the universe into our bodies. So it's soul work, and yang is spirit work. So soul is embodied mystery, and spirit work is the work of moving up beyond the body into one's consciousness, um, and almost like a connection to God that is transcendent rather than God that is immanent. And so if you think of, for instance, the theistic religions, so we're talking about Judaism, Christianity, Islam, they all have one God. They're monotheistic, and that God is outside of the body. Whereas poly theistic, poly, what is the word for it? Uh, but pagan or earthbound or nature-based religions uh, are much more um, yin in their approach and in the way that we interact with them. So yang is light. It's kind of outward focused, and it's active. So yin is receptive, yang is active. It's moving out into the world, and it's solution oriented, and it's rational, and it makes decisions, and it moves towards things. It's the active principle. So the reason I've gone into so much detail about it is that um, the world that we have lived, so astrologically, we move through stages in how almost like the way that our culturally we interact with the world on the whole, and these stages are kind of 2,000 years long or so, and then we've moved from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, which started slowly in the 60s, and is kind of we're moving fully into the age of Aquarius now, and the age of Pisces was a masculine age, and the age of Aquarius is a feminine or more yin age. And so there's this kind of recognition that there's like a lot of what we've been doing in terms of finding our meaning in life, and what is beyond just everyday kind of engagement with the world, is in the last 2,000 years, a lot of the focus of it was moving almost like Kundalini energy, moving up through the body, out through the top of the body, into a sense of connecting with a God that doesn't belong inside. And that has shifted and has now, there's a lot more need on earth at the moment for us to bring our awareness down into the body and ground it into the earth beneath us. And the reason why this is kind of important in terms of doing soul work is that if we think about, mm, this thing of being present in the here and now, That's that's only possible if we're really anchored in our bodies. And so there's a kind of a real necessity to drop into what is happening here. And so and the quality that comes along with that, because it's receptive, is the quality of being able to listen to the world, to listen to the world at ease, to have a spaciousness in which the world can kind of come to us and so on. Um, and that quality of listening, which is very yin, which is very feminine, is the primary kind of foundational kind of essence of what we need to do in order to be able to connect with soul. So to be able to connect with soul babies, to be able to connect with the souls of our babies when we're pregnant, to be able to communicate with our babies non-verbally after they're born, um, to be able to listen to ourselves, and also um, to be able to um, kind of land in a way that makes meaning of life. Because if we're so busy in our heads, trying to do stuff out there in our heads all the time, we can't uh, really experience what it is to be fully present and landed here in a way that is soulful. So that's what soul is about. It's about being present and listening and like having this receptive, spacious quality of being. So I wanted to give you this whole long, and I apologize if it was a bit too kind of involved or something, kind of introduction to what I would like to focus on in the centering meditation that we do this evening. And then, having done that, we can open it up to consider how each of you engages with that and what it means to you personally in your work in the world, or in the way that you would like to engage on a soul level with whatever you're working with, whether it's babies or whatever it might be. Does that sound, is everybody okay that we go from there into the meditation? Or does anybody have a question or a comment or sort of any uncertainty or something before we do the meditation? Because I'd like you to be a little bit clear about why we're doing what we're doing before we go and do the meditation.
Sorry, I just guess I want to know how long it is. Please, Robyn.
How long can you manage, Simone?
Who knows? I've got two children listening to an audiobook and the other
Mm.
one on the boobs, so let's see.
Okay, okay.
Uh,
Um, so let's see, as you say. But not too long. 15 minutes. How does that sound? Is that good?
Great, great,
Okay.
lovely. Can't
Okay.
wait. I need it.
Great. Good. All right. So, um, I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you, and also to make yourselves comfortable. So you can sit, but if you'd rather lie down, that's also fine. I want you to be able to experience this guided meditation into sort of spacious stillness in a way that feels comfortable. And if you need to move or anything while we're doing it, please feel free to do so as well. And thank you to all of you for leaving your videos on. It just feels much easier for me to guide a meditation when I feel that there are people in the room in inverted commas with me. Okay. Just hold on one second. I just want to fetch my gong. like to gong us in because it's a nice way to really tap into the listening. Breathing deeply into your belly. As you breathe in this quality of just simply being present, allowing yourself to be exactly as you are right now, just present with this moment, whether it's comfortable and relaxed or whether there is discomfort in it and any tension. I'm going to gong one more time. And when I do that, I want you to be able to really listen into the gong and let the sound of the gong feel like it's moving into your body so that you feel the vibration of it through your body. Not sure how easy that is to do online, but give it a try. Keep listening to it. I'm not sure if you can still hear it, but it's really useful to tap into the subtler sounds. And then as you listen to the gong fading away, begin to notice the sounds in your own environment. So the sounds of my voice and the louder sounds around, and then start tapping into the sounds that are more and more subtle. The finer sounds, they might be more distant or they just simply might be quieter. And allow yourself to really just soften into something like the sound of your own breathing. There's nothing forced about this listening. Just very softly allowing the sounds to enter your awareness. Imagine for a moment that you can even hear the sound of your own heart beating. Or the sound of your cat's heart or your baby's heart, if you happen to have a cat or a baby nearby. So it's almost like the sounds then transpose into something that is felt as much as heard. And all the while you're breathing all the way down into the belly with soft, easy breathing. And as you breathe out, let your awareness drop into this body. So that you're simply present with a sense of breathing in and out. Present with the feelings that you're aware of in your body, both the sensations and the emotions. They're often very closely connected. Does it feel like on the top of your head, on your scalp, behind your eyes, in your jaw, in your occiput, your neck and your shoulders, and each one of them, just notice the feeling and then soften into it without resistance, even if it's uncomfortable. From your shoulders down into your arms and your fingers. From the shoulders down into the center of the chest, into the space between the shoulder blades, softening those muscles there. The front of the chest, and the stomach area just beneath the ribs, and the belly that is the home of the womb space, both for males and females actually. This kind of home of the sacred mystery. Down into the base. It goes all the way down from your perineum and your buttocks, through your legs, down into your feet. And then just going to add this in as a little extra because I find it so tremendously helpful. When you're in this place of just simple presence, where you're softly aware of what's happening here and now, take a moment to imagine that that essence of you, your divine essence that is both within you and beyond you, you might call it your higher self or your soul self. Just take a moment to imagine that that part of you is talking to you. And it's reassuring you in a way that we all should have been reassured as young babies and children, but maybe we weren't always. And there are 5 very, very valuable foundational statements that this soul self might say to you, or that your parents might or might not have said to you, but that you can say to yourself from your expanded awareness, from within the spacious stillness. And the 5 statements are as follows. I love you. Really feel how there's a part of you that is vaster and bigger than your little judgmental self, that truly loves every part of you, unconditionally. Just simply that, I love you. And the next one is, you are safe. Because very often we don't always feel safe in life, and we might not have ever felt safe. But on a soul level, of course, we're always safe. So from a soul perspective, there's this recognition that you are safe. Just tapping into that recognition that on a soul level, no matter what's happening, I am safe. The next one is, I am proud of you, no matter what you do. So proud of you, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. That the soul self can be proud of you because you are uniquely you and there's no one else like you in the universe. I am proud of you. And then the next one is, today is a new day. Or if it's nighttime, you can say tomorrow is a new day. That all of these perceptions of who I am and how I am in the world are only built on what has happened in the past. But actually, today is a new day. I can be who and what and how feels most closely aligned with my highest direction or sense of being in life. And then lastly, I am always with you no matter what. So your soul self is always here with you no matter what. Or as parents, if you say this to your children, you're giving them reassurance that they are safe, that they are loved, that you are proud of them, that today is a new day and that you are always with them. And so then what I would like you to do now is just spend a moment considering someone or some being that you would like to offer these 5 thoughts to. So it might be an unborn baby, might be the baby that was lost through the miscarriage, might be the born baby, the newly born 3-week-old baby, or the cat, or a child, or someone you love, or something you love. So first you do it for yourself, and then you do it for another being, and you're doing it for them on a soul level. And you turn and focus your awareness towards this being, and you say to them, and again, it's no matter whether they're present or whether they've left or whether they deserve it by some kind of small human judgment or not. On a soul level, speaking soul to soul, you say to them, I love you. And really allow yourself to feel that love extending out from you towards them. You are safe. And no matter if this is a child that has decided not to incarnate for some reason, or has incarnated for a very short period of time and then miscarried, on a soul level, they are safe. And they're safe in your love for them. And then I'm proud of you for being your own unique self. Today is a new day. I am always with you. And then I want you to take a moment to imagine, how would they respond to you? What would they say to you in response? Generally, what they would say would be very simple, probably quite quiet. Just feel into the feeling of how they would respond to you in this moment. And I'm just going to allow us to sit quietly for 1 minute as you listen into that. And you almost hear it as a sense within yourself. So you might hear it as words or as an image, or you might just hear it as a feeling. And we sit in silence for a minute while you listen. And then in your own time, when you're ready, come back to our circle and open your eyes. So, give it a moment. Um, it's lovely that it's a small group because it now gives us a chance to be able to reflect on this as a group as well. Um, and so, and then we can move into other questions that you might have as well. I think what I'm going to do is invite Simone in to say anything you might like to say first, Simone, just because I'm really aware that your time is very limited with a brand new baby. If you have anything that you would like to share at all.
With the meditation.
Yeah, or I kind of around the meditation, but if you have something else, that's also fine.
It was just so lovely. I've really needed to just drop out of my head. Yeah, it's been a very full 3 weeks, but too full for my liking. Would have liked a more, um, a lot quieter postpartum, but I guess that's what happens with 3 children.
Mm,
And
mm.
yeah, so that was really, really lovely. I can feel like I had a lot of head tension and jaw tension, and it just feels like it's draining,
Okay, good.
which is quite lovely. Um, and yeah, that was just so beautiful. I couldn't help, in the first iteration when we were trying to um, kind of say those words to ourselves, I couldn't help but direct it to myself and my family, you know.
Mm,
Um, I, yeah, I couldn't just direct it to myself, which has kind of been a bit of a theme. Like I washed my hair for the first time in like 4 weeks today, you know. So it's like early motherhood madness, you know, like been walking around with like crazy hair and,
mm,
you know, unbrushed teeth and yeah, I kind of leave myself last.
mm,
So to have, you know, for my partner to remind me today, like you need to care for yourself and just,
mm,
yeah, it was good to meditate on giving that to myself. But yeah, I couldn't help but give it to everyone else too, and it was beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, it was really beautiful.
thanks for
So
sharing.
simple, but so lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, those five things, such an easy, simple, quick thing to do when you are living that crazy postpartum life and so on. Just to
Mm,
do it morning and evening when you wake up or when you
mm.
go to sleep or in the middle of the night
I'd
when
love, yeah, I'd love it if you
your
could
baby's sleeping.
send those. I mean, I can't write them down, and I'm gonna forget.
Yeah,
Please, they're so
sure.
beautiful. Yeah, I
Yeah.
even found I had like a bit of an argument with my mom this afternoon, and automatically I was doing that with her, and there was a sense of like thanks, you know,
Mhm.
um, and yeah, it just felt healing. So,
Yeah.
oh, how's that for timing? Babies.
And then, but also just before you
Yeah.
disappear altogether, just remembering that if you really need to be able to do it just for yourself sometimes as
Yes,
well.
exactly. I know,
Yeah.
right? This
Because
is the problem.
because you get depleted if you can't do that. And I mean, it's very rich for me to say this because um, it's been a really tough journey for me to learn that. But
Yes.
I really recognize
Yeah.
how actually everything manifests from that sense of being able to be resourced within myself.
100%. Yeah, that's been a theme today.
Yeah.
And it is hard, but I do need to just keep coming back to that. Yeah. Because yeah, the ripple effects of it are profound if one does that. I've seen it time and time again in my life. So it's just hard when you're in the thick of these early stages.
For sure.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, lovely. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah.
And I completely understand if you need to go. So,
Mm,
you know,
thanks.
welcome.
Yeah, I might just drop off when I need to
Sure.
and just quietly do a
Yeah.
French goodbye.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, and then before I sort of open it up to people, I just want to invite you in as well, Samantha, because you had that question before we started as well. And I just want to check in with you about what more you might need in terms of somehow understanding um, that that like finding meaning in what happened and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was interesting because I felt when we were giving it to the other soul, and obviously I was wanting to connect with the baby that's just
Yeah.
left, but and it was very much like quite a the energy of like I felt like he or she, but I do think he was saying to me like, just calm down, like um and like the message was all is well and all is as it should be, and that was kind of it. But like it was very much like a please just pull yourself together and calm down energy, which I thought was quite funny, which is exactly like with my personality, sort of what I need is someone to put me in my place. But yeah, it was lovely, and I do feel like quite it was nice. I mean, like obviously you know that, but it was nice to hear that. So yeah, it was great. Thank you.
And also, that's what you heard. Somebody else would have heard something else entirely. That was kind of what you heard because it was what you needed to hear right now. And if you do need to do it more fully, then get hold of me afterwards and we can chat about an actual session or something sometime. But sometimes it can be as simple as that as well. So just sort of see how it goes. Yeah. Okay. So shall we just popcorn or shall we go alphabetically or how would you like to check in now?
I'll go.
Tanda.
Um, it was lovely for me, especially because I'm usually, the Robin in the situation, facilitating the breathing and the,
Mm,
helping people get back to themselves and, opening them up to, their higher selves, the actual selves, coming back to selves, and also connecting with spirits and ancestors or,
mm,
whatever it is they need at the time.
mm,
So to be on the other side is always, firstly, a treat for me. But I found that I just zoned out. I didn't hear anything that you said, until you said we must come back.
mm,
Um, so, which is clearly, like you say, it's exactly what I needed today,
mm,
to not connect with the energy of anybody else, but to just come inside and within myself,
mm,
even though I'm part of the group right now. Because usually I would be all involved with everybody's energy.
mm,
So it was so lovely to be able to go within, disconnect without falling asleep, um, but not be conscious as well.
mm.
So yeah, that was great. And also just to say to Samantha, I know we can't see her now, but to be able to come on here 3 weeks afterwards, I mean, um,
A
I just
week, not 3 weeks, a week.
a week, yeah, a week after. Also, like I think you're doing far better than you think. And that's probably why your baby was like, just calm down because you don't recognize how well you're doing. Even in your face, you can see that, while it doesn't make sense to you, um, I feel like you have an understanding that things work out as they should. So I think, just to send you some love and appreciation that you could still come and join us, even if maybe it was for selfish reasons, but you're also giving us something. So just to send you love and appreciation, and just the knowing that everything works out as it should, and the soul of
Thank you.
your soul of your baby's around you as you feel it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Thanks, Tanda. Shall I? Yes, Jan. Thank you for raising your hand. Ah, I can't hear you. And it doesn't show, it says, no, I can't hear. And it says that it says you're off mute, but then I can't actually hear you. Yeah. Why don't you just write a short thing in the chat and then I'll read it out. Oh, I think my mic is broken. Maybe just take a moment to write something in the chat about any questions you have or how that was, or anything you might want to say. Yeah. Okay. And then Lena, Martha, Christina.
I can go, I guess.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I had such a calling to come join here today, and I actually wasn't quite sure what the theme is going to be and what it's going to be about. And when Samantha started speaking, I like kind of froze because I had the same experience twice actually. Now I have two children. We're actually very happy as was, and then I fell pregnant, I think 2 years back, and I also lost the baby, I think at week 7 or 8, so quite early. And exactly a year later, the same experience happened again. So I also fell pregnant again. And this time I thought, now it's definitely for sure. Like I've been through it, it must be fine this time. And then at week 12, I think, it also just, well, vanished. And I also never really found sense about it. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me. The first time I also had these clear visions of giving birth, and I could feel the soul so strongly being there and being communicative, and all of a sudden it just vanished. So I understood that that wasn't really a loss of, I'm not scared of death. It was more the loss of experiencing that third child that I kind of envisioned in my head is going to come now, and kind of didn't. So I can really relate with Samantha of, it's gone and I don't understand why, and yet I feel it so strongly. It's still there. And I think Tando said so nicely that it's kind of that piece of just knowing everything is just exactly as it's supposed to be. I don't feel grief. I did grieve for a short time, but then it kind of disappeared, and just knowing it's all fine. It all has a bigger purpose. And I completely understand that the soul is still there. And maybe one day I will meet it, if it is my own child or not. It can be just a spirit around. It can be a child in a complete different dimension. It can be whatever it is. But I don't know, I find that piece of just knowing it's there, and it was there for a little short time. And yeah, that gives me lots of joy actually thinking about it. Yeah. And then what else? The meditation was very lovely. I really enjoyed it. And it brought me also back to my other two children, and also back to myself. I think I'm very easy, can say I love myself, and I'm very happy and proud of myself. And that was just a reminder that I've done a good work. I can do it, and I can say it. And I found that very, very confirming. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Lena. So Samantha, I just want to check in with you about how you're feeling with, would you like to respond to Lena? How are you left feeling after her check-in with you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I suppose a deep sense of just like community, if that makes sense. Like that it's not just, like it happens and people get what you're going through. Yeah, and also I just find it so fascinating always how like she would have been called to be here tonight when it's the first time I'm coming to one of these. Like it's just that's not by accident, obviously. Yeah, so just grateful. I think it also gives me a sense of peace. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Just going to read what Zian said. I'm currently working in the NICU at the hospital I work at in rural Eastern Cape. I love being in their space and caring for them, and it reminded me how much nourishment I needed too. Absolutely. During the meditation, I felt a deep sense of love and peace. It was time to extend the loving. I saw them holding my finger. It was a tender image and one I cherish. Thank you for sharing that. Sounds like you're doing wonderful work. Yeah. So thank you for that. Martha.
Oh, wow. Hi everyone. This is Martha. The meditation went great. I got to relate closely with it, like when it got to the safe space, like being safe. I got to realize that this is exactly what I needed to hear, because even like this afternoon, a whole lot of things were going through my mind from the experiences, losing lives through accidents and everything. So I was coming from the village this evening, and there's that fear. I felt scared from the current incidents that are occurring. But then when we got to being safe, I got that assurance, like personally, because I realized that a whole lot of things are taking my peace because of such. So it's the one thing that I took from the meditation, and also being loved. Just it's such a feeling, especially from the other end, the beneficiary, just seeing somebody reacting, or just to see that light, that glow from their eyes, it's so fulfilling, making a difference to somebody. And that innocent soul to be like bringing a soul to life, and you give them that. It's totally amazing, and make you feel like you did something that you like, life-changing to the life yet to come. So this has come to bring so much difference. I even feel lighter from this, because honestly, this afternoon I was like heavily, like I had a heavy heart, but I couldn't say it to everybody. It's like you could read through what I'm going through, that I believe I'm going to have a peaceful sleep today. So these sessions are so insightful. They get to help us like dig deeper in ourselves, to discover ourselves, to discover our potentials, the gaps, like how to bridge those gaps. Yeah, thank you so much.
That's a pleasure. I just want to say something before we move on to Christina, kind of in response to what you're saying, Martha, but it's kind of general as well, is I don't think I got a very good sense when I was a baby or a young child that anybody was particularly showing me the fact that I was lovable, or that they were proud of me, or that I was safe. And I mean, I had a wonderful upbringing. It was just that there wasn't a lot of maybe physical warmth, and not a lot of spoken kind of warmth and so on as well. And so then, in a way, a lot of the reason for why I do the work that I do is because there's a part of me that's trying to heal my own early childhood wounds. I don't think there is such a thing as not a wounded healer. I think healers are always there in order to deal with their own wounds. But what I do find really fascinating is that when I was bringing my children up, I was like very clear that I was going to bring them up to know that they were loved and so on, so that they would kind of really have this deep sense of self-worth, and a kind of a sense of being lovable in themselves and so on. But they didn't. I mean, they do a bit, but they didn't. They also carry kind of quite a strong sense of maybe not such like really grounded kind of sense of they're completely fine in the world. And then I realized that I was saying all the right things, but inside of myself, I was holding these beliefs about myself and about who I was in the world that were kind of transmitting to my children. And that my mother might have been doing all the right things as well, but I do know that she had the same kind of quality of how she felt about herself. And so then when I sort of emphasize how important it is that we say these things for ourselves, it's because those around us who we want them to feel that they're loved and can be proud of themselves and that they're safe and so on, they get it. because we carry that energy inside of ourselves more than from what we actually say. And I just think that that's kind of shocking and kind of really important as well. Yeah. Christina, typing, you're typing. Great. I'll wait to hear from you. Oh, you did already. Sorry. Ah, let me read that aloud. I can't unmute because of background noise, so we'll give my feedback here. I relate also to what you're saying, Robyn, about not getting those messages clearly as a child. Meditation connected me particularly to my 4-year-old grandson and a strong sense of nurturing and safety, towards him, which it felt like he needs. Also, a bit like Tando, I zoned in and out a bit and sometimes wasn't hearing much, but felt how tired this body is feeling and getting rest in the process. Thank you. Yeah. And Simone says that's very kind of really important. Sadly, it is. Yes. So thanks for that, Christina. And I do think that it's really not so much about the words very often. It is just about tapping into that kind of spacious stillness and giving ourselves permission to just be quietly there. And that's a very nourishing and regenerating thing to do, and that we should all be doing it on a daily basis as well. Yeah. Okay. So, where do we take this next? Who has other questions that they might want to bring to the conversation that might not have anything to do with the meditation, but just about soul babies generally, or anything more that you would like to talk about, even about miscarriage or whatever it might be? Just open the floor to your own stories as well as your own questions and comments as well.
I think I have maybe something to add to what you were saying earlier, if I may.
Yeah, yeah.
Lina, hi, Susan. You were referring to the universal flow coming in and that we need to ground it, and the yin and the yang, and the masculine and the feminine. And that very resonated with me because I also had such a strong thoughts about that the last couple of weeks, how birth and how the contraction actually opening the cervix, so the bottom chakra. But if we look at the universal law and we look at above and below, then we must see the bottom chakra just as the top chakra. So the top chakra also opens at birth. So the cervix opens, the top chakra opens. I think that's also why the woman goes so spaced out, which is like absolutely beautiful. So when we actually allow that, we open up and the universal flow comes through, and how in the moment of birth, the universal flow, God actually comes into the mother, and how the mother then births it back into ground and into Mother Earth, and how father and mother meet in the moment of birth and give life. And I just thought it's actually so absolutely beautiful. And I'm so fascinated with the birth process itself, and also as a spiritual tool of opening up and becoming just a spiritual being by itself in that moment. It's just so incredible. And I just wanted to share it because it just fitted so nicely in what you were saying.
That's very beautiful. Thank you so much. And there are just two small things I want to add to what you're saying, the same kind of reiterating it from a slightly different perspective. And one is that if you consider the Kabbalah, now I don't know a lot about the Kabbalah, but what I do know is that there's the base, the ground, the earthiness, which is called Malkut, and then you work up through all these different stages in the Kabbalah, through Tiferet, which is in the heart, and so on, to Kita, which is the universal oneness. But when you open to Kita, what you're doing is you're opening to Malkut. So it's not a linear process, it's a circular process. And so Malkut and Kita linked together to create that kind of sense that of what happens at birth, as you say. And then still also within the Judaic tradition, and again, I don't know much about it at all, is that recognition that the men need to go to shul and to the synagogue, and women don't, because women have a direct link to God, whereas men have to actually work at it. And of course, they divide it into men and women rather than masculine and feminine. But in a way, what they're saying is the feminine connection to God through the body is the actual experience of the divine within this earthly form, whereas men have to go and create that connection somehow. So it's again coming back to this, the divinity of birth, and how we feel that it's, or we make it in the medical kind of world so devoid of anything sacred. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine today about just an incident at one of the hospitals where there was such almost like anger towards the fact that anybody even wanted to recognize that birth was more than just a physical process, or that there was anything more important than just actually making sure that the baby was born physically, kind of what, but a complete denigration of anything else, and how incredibly important it is that we hold on to this recognition that that birth is really sacred. And I once had a conversation with 4 professors and doctors, and it was when I was still working within the government sector and so on, doing like compassionate birth project work. And I was criticized because I kept using the word love. And they said, compassion's one thing, but you can't really bring the word love into a medical kind of situation. It doesn't have a place there. And then I said, actually, the word that we're really missing, the word that is more valuable, that the medical system or the maternity system needs more than just the recognition that love is missing from the whole kind of process, is sacred. We need to bring the word sacred back into it. And this woman, she put her arms together like this, and she went like this, and she went, "Now that's taking it one step too far." And so it's kind of like, no, it's not. I'm getting on my high horse here. And this is my mission in life. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it pretty much almost the most sacred part of life is giving birth? I cannot see a different way of being more spiritual than in the moment of birth. I've tried to find any way how we can be more spiritual, but I haven't. I think birth is really a catalyst to rise so high. It opens the heart chakra. It opens all the chakras. It connects us. It releases blockages. It's absolutely amazing. And then we get put horizontal and vertically, like we get put on the bed so that we're out of the flow. We get strapped down in the worst cases. No, it's very, very sad. We really have to bring much more awareness to the fact how sacred birth actually is.
Simone, do you want to just tell us about your gorgeous sacred birth?
Exactly. I've just
been. This is the time.
Yeah, I haven't really shared my birth story much with people, but it really was that. It's still so fresh, but it's very quickly the rug's being pulled from underneath me because life is so busy. And I think I've been mourning a lot of that sense of that sacredness kind of being pulled too preemptively away, because it was so unbelievably, it was so the air, the textures, the texture of the space was so unbelievably rich and soft and womb-like and pure and peaceful and beautiful. It was unfathomably beautiful. It just permeated everything in my immediate surrounding. It was unbelievable. So of course, when a few days later work came pouring in and the kids came home and everything got chaotic, I went into deep mourning because it was just so beautiful. Really, it's, I wrote something, it's that what Michelle O'Den says, that peace on earth begins at birth. I'd never felt it so holy in my life. How that incredibly deep sense of peace and yeah, just huge, expansive love and yeah, all of those things, sacredness, but it was off the charts. It was off the charts. It was, yeah, you can't, my partner and I just kept going, is this even real life? Is this, we were just so blown away by the wonder of it. And you'd think, oh, third time round, kind of, it feels like every time I become um, more in awe, more, um, fascinated at the mystery of it, and it just dumbfounded really at the beauty of it all. Yeah, yeah. I can't imagine people who have more kids. I mean, the fear increases as well, but the other stuff. Wow. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, you did have like the perfect kind of dream birth team, didn't you?
I did, yeah, I did. Of course, it was wildly painful, and I wanted to run away, and it was all these things that I was like, "What the fuck am I doing?" It was all of those things too. But uh, yeah, uh, just yeah, I don't know. There's no. It like burst through the scales of like profoundness. Yeah, yeah, it was really magical. Yeah. So I can honestly, yeah, agree with what everything's Lena's saying, and yeah. But there's a lot of grief when you kind of come out of that and the bubble gets burst. So I've been dealing a lot with that grief of like trying to grab onto that and be, and hold on to it. Yeah, like a real downer afterwards. Yeah.
Very interesting, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Mm.
Lena.
I think the idea is to find the sacredness in your everyday life and in the little giggles of your children and in the little kiss on the forehead and, in everything, in the little mess in the house. Find the sacredness. And yeah, I always wish I could give birth every day. It's like the weirdest thing. I have this like fascination with birth, but, I can't. And there are so many other ways to kind of get that feeling back and to connect again and to find those little moments in everyday life where you're like, now I'm a little bit in connection again. But I try to just find it in every moment now and looking at my kids and looking at everything, and I kind of find that sacredness back. So yeah, maybe that helps you with your grief a little bit. Just changing perspective on how sacred your children are in every moment.
Thank you for that. Yes, I'm working hard at it. Yeah, absolutely. It is, yeah. It's so beautiful to see the kids connecting with the baby as well. It's just mind-blowingly beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I think I just need to reframe it and yeah, and be present just with what is rather than grasping. It's something that's past. Yeah.
And be present with the grief too.
That
It's
too.
real.
Yeah.
You're allowed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Samantha.
No, I just wanted to share because we never told, I've got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and we never told them about the baby because they wouldn't have really understood. And I was always cautious from the beginning of whether it was going to stick. But this morning, like completely randomly, my 4-year-old says to me, "Mommy, when is the baby coming?" And he's like, I'm like, what do you mean? What baby? He says, I have a baby brother, but I want a baby sister. And when is the baby coming? And like, I was like, almost like, I was like, no, dude, it's too soon. Like, please. But like, but he has like no clue of what's going on. And you just think like these beings are so connected. And that gave me such a sense of peace because maybe there's another baby coming, maybe there isn't, but maybe there is, And like, I just find it so, like, that's like for me was like a sacred moment where, like, okay, there's more on this earth than just us, And yeah, it was very, very special and just completely out of the blue and like very raw still, but yeah, there's something in that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really does give you a sense of how, as you mentioned, this baby is still around. The consciousness of the soul of the baby is still present. And I can't tell you how often I come across people whose children know that they're pregnant before they have been told, and kind of are very, very clear. They say, oh, the baby's coming and the baby's name is this, and the baby's told me that their name is this, and this is what they want you to do, and blah, 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 on, and like really amazingly kind of clear about it. So they're tapping into something that we have completely forgotten about. And then when we come back to this thing over and over again of, how like birth is sacred and life is sacred, and all of it comes back to that sense of, can I sit in this place where I can hold on to the spacious stillness that is the foundation of this kind of connection and so on. And that through that, there's something about it sort of honors the children that still know that because they're still in that sacred stillness and so on, and it honors the ones that come for a short while and leave, and yeah, and it just honors life generally. Yeah.
It makes me think of so I'm doing my family constellation training for the
Okay,
last
cool.
2 years,
Yeah.
and just before baby was born, I did my own constellation while I was pregnant, but we treated very carefully. And I had 2 abortions many years ago. So this is my 5th child, but 2 unborn and 3 born. And what was so healing for me in my constellation that I did was just to recognize that the other 2 unborn children have a place in my family system. And just acknowledging that, that they have a father, their mother, they have siblings that are born, that are in life, they on earth, and just kind of placing them and acknowledging them. Just that clarity. It was a very simple exercise, but it was very healing to recognize them as part of that family system, regardless.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And I think healing for my children that are in life as well. So, yeah. So I just wanted to say that, Lena. Samantha, sorry, Samantha.
Lena?
To Simone, I just actually thought you're going to tell me that the soul that you now birthed as a real child was the soul of your aborted child, because I had that experience with, before my second child, I also lost a baby. And I was sitting with my son in the bath when I was pregnant now, I don't know, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months pregnant. And he said to me with his 5 years, I know that's the same child we lost those couple of months back. I know it's the same soul. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I can feel it too. It's the same soul. So back to these children are just amazing. They know it all. And like, we don't know often. We just, we grieve something and yet there it comes back, or however it goes. It's just magical sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Tando.
Before Simone came on, I actually wanted to be like thinking the same thing. I wanted to speak about the fact that even with the abortions, I've had clients who, funny, a lady who had two abortions, and in one of our sessions, she birthed them, acknowledged them, met them, named them, and, also had that sense that, even though they didn't come through physically, they're still very much part of the family. And in fact, in African spirituality, well, let me speak as a Zulu person, when you do have a miscarriage, you still absolutely have to acknowledge that soul, name it. We go through a ritual of naming the baby, acknowledging them, and helping them pass and cross over to be with our angels and ancestors on the other side. And then every time we having ceremonies or whatever, they also still very much acknowledge, even though they didn't come through in the physical, they still very much acknowledged and named, and we refer to them as if they were physical people on earth. Because the moment that conception happened, that's it. Like the soul is there, it's alive. Whether it comes through or not, it doesn't take away from the fact that they were there and they are there. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, and so just to bring it to a close, the one thing I was just thinking about while somebody was talking about, I think it might have been you, Lena, something about holy, but it sounded like you were talking about WHOLLY, holy, like holy there or something. And I'm so aware of how the word holy, WHOOLLY, has the same etymological root as the word to heal. It comes from the word hull and healing and holy. So, like holy as in sacred. So, sacred, holy, and being whole and healing are all the same thing. And that there's something incredibly like really deeply powerful about that. And I have just recently, finally, after many kind of iterations of it, completed a novel that is called Elsie October. But I want to show you what the subtitle is. I don't know if you can read this. I don't know if it comes up back to front, but it's Elsie October, Holy Ordinary, because it could be WHOLLY, but it's also Sacred Ordinary, and that there's something. I just love that feeling about the sacred in the ordinary and how they kind of ought to be indivisible. Yeah. Right. I think that we're going to bring it to a close. Does anybody have anything they want to say to finish, or are you all cool that we can end the session now? Yeah. Great. Lovely to see you all. Thank you for joining. Oh, and then one last thing. I do put these sessions, and I normally, I think most people know this, but just to make sure that uh, everybody's cool with this, I do record the sessions and put them online, and they're just a free kind of resource for people. And it's not that a lot of people listen to them, but sometimes I do have people that come and listen to them and kind of get something out of them and really find it valuable. So if you're not happy with that, then please to let me know. Then I have to get Bianca, who does my tech stuff, to kind of remove whatever it is about that you don't want to have shared publicly from it. But something that I really need to make sure that I speak to people about before I start the sessions generally. So is everybody okay with that? And if not, maybe just come back to me afterwards. Okay. Good. Simone, I will send you those words. So I have a Soul Babies WhatsApp group. Is everybody on that Soul Babies WhatsApp group?
No.
Or otherwise I'll just send it, I'll email it to the Soul. Is everyone on the Soul Babies email list? How did you find the link, Tando?
On the WhatsApp, and when I registered, then I got a response on email. On the Soul
Okay,
Baby WhatsApp.
I think that I'll check, but I think that that would mean that you on the Soul Babies email list, which we only sort of generally send out one email a month,
Okay.
like an upcoming thing occasionally. So
Oh, I must be.
who said happy to be added to the WhatsApp group? Who is that?
Me,
Samantha.
Sam. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. If you don't get it, get hold of me and I'll send it to you directly. Okay. All right. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.